Did anyone have any other ideas?
Just like role play, so
Yeah.
Develop that expression. So if you've got someone saying something angrily or whispering it, or
Yes.
you'd love to act that out.
Yep. Role play, acting, storytelling orally. Now, how straightforward would that be in prep if we moved our consciousness in that way? Yeah. Any other good practical ideas? Puppets, yes. Yeah. Which relates back to that speaking in sentences role play idea.
So if you're listening to an individual and you notice their fluency dropping, to read with them.
Yes.
To back up.
Yeah.
So in and out.
Okay. I'm going to call it echo reading. Just that, because echo reading can really support students to get the idea where we're reading it together, but I'm sort of a little millisecond behind the student. Is that what you're meaning?
Or even a millisecond ahead.
Yes,
help
so
them
they
to
can
back up.
pull up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So supporting in that way, yeah.
Right, can we add to that list that the length of the text is really
Yes. Yeah.
that resolves interpretational writing, if you can't do it on a whole text,
Yeah.
maybe a paragraph.
And really, that same applies to a prep mightn't be able to do it on a whole text. One page of fluent reading, modelled, talked about, discussed, practiced, could be enough. It doesn't have to be a whole text. Thank you, Helen. The length of text, short and purposeful. What was that? She's being mean to me. The camera's on and I'm telling Wayne Craig. No. Okay. Think alouds. Are we familiar with the concept of think aloud or the approach? Where I am actually doing a particular thing and I'm explaining what I'm thinking and what I'm doing as I go through. Now, that doesn't sit well with fluency in that if I'm interrupting the reading, how does that match with fluency? But if I do some thinking and talking and explaining before, then I model it and I stop and then talk a little more, then get them to model, I'm putting the language around and the understanding around what I'm doing. So think alouds could be appropriate, although we would not want that to interrupt the reading. Guided reading focus we talked about. Did anyone talk about how this has a link to parent information sessions? And if you do have parents here reading, it's a controversial issue, but if you have parents hearing reading at school, there are issues around fluency. But also home reading. This is something that you can actually talk to your parents about at your information nights or an information that you send home, so that school and home are working on fluency across Prep 1, 2. That makes sense? Yes,
We just had
Sandra.
parent-teacher interviews,
Yes.
and a lot of our ESL parents were worried that they couldn't read to their child in prep, who started prep.
Yes.
Who can't read English, but they have an older brother or sister who
Who
in
could.
high school who could.
Yes.
And one of the things we sort of said to them is, look, would you like to read it first in Chaldean, if
Mm.
you can convert it, so that you get the fluency and you get the feel of the story, and then go through it in English with them, because
Yeah.
it's all new. And they were so happy with that.
Yes.
It was like this big weight had lifted off their shoulders, because they realised, it was okay to use their own language,
Yes.
if they could.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other ideas? I'm just checking. Share time. What's the purpose of share time? Share our learning. I'm going to put the press on you.
Talk about what I know today that I might have known before.
Yeah. Talk
So
about.
if we're talking about fluency, children can say,
Yes.
today I read smoothly, or today I read.
And they have to speak in full sentences to do that. They have to use the language around fluency. I made sure I changed my voice when someone was talking, or I was thinking about reading the words together, or I read a chunk and then I stopped because there was a comma. They have to have the language around it in order to share it at share time. Okay, can we look on the side, the page that looks like that is only has the top box filled? I thought that we would talk about this today because I like their construct of actually dividing the practice into what could we do at whole class, what could we do in small group, what could we do in individual. We've got a great lot of ideas to take back there and to look at implementing into our practice, but this is another way of looking that I think is really powerful. Where is it going to fit in whole and small and individual? I think we have covered most of the ideas in whole class context. One down the bottom, number 11, memorisation of poems. Not just reading of poems together in a choral way, but memorisation. And I like the way they say voluminous reading of easy materials. That library corner, book box, individual reading box idea that we had. In the middle column, small group context, they bring out that important point of appropriate text level and avoiding texts that are too difficult. I like point 4, reading of dialogue. It's not very long before students need to bring together their reading fluently over dialogue. Level 3, level 4. Now, number 8, self-evaluation of fluency and phrasing. So that students have the awareness of what they should be doing and then are able to check themselves against it.